everyone. So there's something I want to talk about. And I hope that plane isn't too loud. So as a local Native artist, as an activist, as a public speaker, I go a lot of places. And I get a chance to witness a lot of things. And just because it looks like I'm having fun and going to all these places, I am blessed to have those opportunities, but I am by no means financially stable or have the means to go on these adventures. It's usually bottom line, break even. I'm going off of love, prayers, and total amazing investment of those who love me. From my mother, who supports me with everything, to my partner, to my relatives, to my kin, to people who have witnessed my work. I am so gracious and thankful for all of the opportunities. Now, on social media, it looks like I'm everywhere doing everything and have all these opportunities and, oh, must be nice, right? Must be nice to go all these places and do all these things. It is nice, but it's work. And I do a lot of work. And a lot of people try to take advantage. They try and take advantage from me being an artist. They're like, oh, you can do this work and it'll help your resume. I've been doing this for years. So in that energy of things, of my sharing, I barely get by. And as a Native, as an individual of a community that is very, very distant from those true roots, because let's just say the colonization of California is very unique. From the waves and waves of genocide against indigenous peoples, indigenous nations of this territory, especially around federal recognition. There are so many expectations around federal recognition that California natives struggle with. And there are some areas where you need to have proof that your family and ancestry has always been who they proclaim they are. But there's one little mishap that happened. This guy named Krober came to the territory. He's not a California native. He doesn't know what they look like. He came to the territory and he's like, no such thing. Costanon, there's no such thing as a full-blood Costanon. There are no Costanon natives. That's what the Spaniards called us, Costaños. So there are no Costanons. And then later on he wrote, oh wait, oh my gosh, I've learned so much. Yes, they're here, they're practicing their culture, their traditions, but guess what? The first quote got saved. So we don't exist, supposedly. And there are some practices, some cultural practices that are being dreamt up and woken up and in an integral way. No, when I say dreamt up and dreaming, you gotta be native, you gotta be anthropological, you gotta be someone who is aligned with the spiritual to understand that. Ask me later, I'll try. I'm not one to explain these things. But I am an in-between. And I know that if someone carries medicine, if someone does something where they are requested of the community for their presence, they would have someone who's almost like a handler for artists, someone who talks all the nitty-gritty, like fees. What does it take to get that person there? What does it mean to offer them something? What does it mean to have that integral, we really need you, we really know your time, your energy, your efforts are worth something, because that person, that medicine being, healer, singer, that artist, that individual who holds culture, is not going to say, yes, my flat fee is this. Yeah, no. Run. Well, okay, not run. Some of us are still trying to figure out what that means. If you find someone who is providing a sweat lodge and they have a flat rate fee, $50 sweat lodge, come, run. That I could say run. With native peoples and ceremonial practitioners and healers and singers, they're never really going to answer you like, yes, it's going to cost this much for me to be there. And it's wrong. It's, someone wants me to open up a ceremony. Someone wants me to open up with ceremonial energy. I'm not going to say, all right, it costs this much. No. It's up to the person who's inviting me to know and to offer. I understand that they don't want to offend Native peoples. That's why we would have a handler. We would have someone. But let's think about it this way, bare minimum. Well, where are we traveling from? What's time worth? And someone who's hosting this event, sometimes they're on corporate time, corporate dime, and the Native person is expected to do the song and dance routine for free because, oh, it's so important that we have you here. It's so important that we honor and acknowledge these spaces and places. But are you honoring and acknowledging those culture bearers? Are you honoring and acknowledging the people who hold that integrity, who walk the walk, or try to walk the walk? So, because, you know, I'm a ranter and a rambler and I'm a coyote, so I'm making this because there have been a few instances where people are like, you gotta come, you're needed to be here. Yet, they don't offer anything. And I'm expected to go so far out of my way, so far because it's so necessary, yet it feels like I'm not being regarded as valued. I value every interaction, and I give my energy, and I even give opportunities of consulting and efforts of energy towards helping resolve some things, even insight that help certain gatherings and opportunities, and just help offer perspective. Some of these things aren't thought of. I'm not going to hold everybody to be responsible to know something that they don't know. Though, is there any gesture of reciprocity? Are some of these organizations who claim they're acting altruistically really altruistic? Or are they self-centered? I really don't want to give details about an instance, but it just feels really, I'm just going to throw something else under the bus, new agey. So I appreciate some pieces of the new age energy, like love and energy and vibrations, awesome. But some of the new age energy is culturally appropriating other cultures, taking tidbits and cherry picking here and there of other nations. I have no problem in honoring other nations, but don't lie. Don't lie about, I'm honoring them to do this. I'm going to be smudging in the Native American way. Did you know indigenous peoples of many other nations have their own herbs and have their own cleansing ceremonies? And it's okay to align with your own indigenous roots? Because all of us come from the earth. And when it comes to honoring and acknowledging our indigenous roots, anyone from any nation has those. Some of us have been colonized for a long time, some just recently. Many of us are still healing from that colonization. And yes, colonization did bring some awesome things. It brought nations together. But there's this thing that I call this privileged colonial entitlement of today's colonial settler mindset that is negligent. It's absent-minded of the sacred. And it denies people who have differences, who have strong roots, who are aligned with maybe earth-based spirituality of any nation. And the colonial mindset is entitled saying, I know better. I'm coming in here and I'm going to offer a resolution. I know what's up. I see other beings here, but they're subhuman, which validates doing atrocious things, like the missions. Yes, many natives did visit the missions willingly. And many were enslaved. Many were raped. Interesting. Part 2. I guess my memory on my device is bratty. So, introduction of event. So there are some new agey energies coming around me saying, oh my gosh, you need to come, this healing practitioner, these peoples, they're coming to this area and it's so very important that we honor and acknowledge the native peoples of this territory. Can you come? And I'm like, well, it depends. Do you have means to help with travel or an honorarium? Does this individual who practices these traditional practices honor and acknowledge Indigenous Protocol? Honoring and acknowledge Indigenous Protocol is recognizing the spaces and places that we occupy in today's post-colonial settler society. That being said, if someone who does practice all of these cultural traditions with strong integrity for more than a decade, they would probably know what Indigenous Protocol means. It means you acknowledge the original peoples of the land that you're on. And if wherever they travel, there are indigenous peoples and indigenous nations, First Nations practices, of which they are subject to abide by. Versus them coming in saying, look at me, I know this, and I want to teach you this. You don't go into somebody's house barging in the door saying, you're doing things wrong, I want to tell you what's up. What do? We at least knock on the door. So when indigenous peoples knock on the door, it means to ask permission. Instead of saying, hey, you guys in California, where we're at right now, come here, we need you. Oh, by the way, we don't have gas money. Oh, by the way, we don't have honorarium. Oh, by the way, we don't have an offering gift to one. Thank you for your time for listening to me. Thank you for your time. And then please listen and answer my question when you have an opportunity. Let me ask this question. So, some of my relatives may know what I'm talking about. Some may not. It's okay. I am not a person to air details of certain things. There's actually a couple instances around what's driving me nuts right now. But I wanted to bring that up because it's a perspective that some of us aren't familiar with. And it's okay not to know. It's up until the point that you do know. That is when you should be held responsible to any of your forward actions. And so, I'm not expecting any of you who watch this video to know. I do, however, encourage you to ask questions. I love opportunities to interact and teach. I hope to be facilitating workshops and opportunities around strong ally and accomplice efforts, because now ally and accomplice, people are like, I'm a check-in ally. I'm an ally when it's convenient for me. And it's like, oh my gosh. So I'm going to attempt to start facilitating ally and accomplice workshops, what it means to decolonize our mindset, to indigenize our efforts, to indigenize these spaces, to recognize indigenous peoples of other indigenous nations and come humbly and respectfully, but first of all, honor the indigenous peoples of whose land we are on, no matter where it is that we visit. And so if any of you do support or want to know more about that, please shoot me a message. Please comment, all that fun stuff. I highly encourage it. So yeah, that was just a little coyote rant and ramble, a little vent. But some of you may recognize where this is coming from, and it's just frustrating that people have that colonial entitlement of saying, you come here, we need you, but you need us. But they can't even come humbly. They can't even come in a respectful way. Where is the reciprocity? Where's the integrity? Where's the etiquette? Indigenous Protocol and humility. So, I hope this made a little sense. If anything, cathartic for me. And hopefully I will start making more informative videos or commentary or opportunities of teach-ins, hang out, interact with each other, and help me find a way to sustain doing the amazing things that I do. Yes, I'm so... Yeah, not trying to let my head get too big. To help me do the work I feel and have been compelled to and have been supported to do. And I really hope for those of you who do care and enjoy what I do, can hit me up and we can start parallel play. Parallel play is working together. So whenever you want to hang out and if you feel like, oh, I can't hang out, I've got too much stuff to do, I can't really go to the movies, I feel like I wasted time, or hang out and watch movies, or like not do anything productive, yeah, it's frustrating. Parallel play is a great way to hang out, enjoy the time together, and get stuff done. So let me know if anybody wants to parallel play. Lots of love. Tom Sanak Kamis. Thank you. Makes me happy.